I am shocked.
You weren't ready for that, were you? Well.
Oh, that's got to be on some bad channel, man. That's wow.
Well, I think we're gonna go with that one. See that of the previous one that was also horrible. Dennis, this is your last evening with us for a little bit, but you're off early tomorrow morning, as I recall from last time. As if you can actually fly. Oh no, you're not flying this time.
No, I have to. I have to drive my bride west for an hour.
Drive my bride west.
For her to catch a flight, and then an hour later, I'll be back at square one, and then I have to go 7 hours in the other direction.
That's one way to part.
In between those two.
That's one way to part. You all go over there.
She goes
fly that way.
She goes. I drop her off, and then I drive past my house and drive another 7 hours east. So I'm likely to come home from the airport after dropping her off and sleep. But I'll be fully packed, so all I really have to do is sleep. That's the plan.
Very often when a lot of the flights that leave from my local airport leave at like 7 a.m. So when I have to take someone there to fly, or when someone takes me there to fly, you leave home at 5 a.m. and you get back home at 7 a.m. and everyone's still fucking asleep, and you're tired, and so you go back to sleep. Having driven for 2 hours, which is wild. But so I'm leaning heavily toward a nap. The main reason is that after our podcast, immediately thereafter, our what is it called? A hopcast. Podcast. You said.
Pardon me.
Pardon you.
I've got band practice.
Yeah, baby.
Until close to 10 o'clock. I get home at 11. Then I got to get up. 2:30.
Jesus.
Do the drive.
That's not safe.
Not 2:30. We're going to leave it. I can't remember. She wants to be there at 4:45.
You'll leave it
3:30.
3:34.
We'll get up. Yeah. Get up 2:45.
That's no way to live.
Usually, if I set an alarm, I don't use it.
Yeah.
I wake up before.
Setting the alarm sets it in your brain.
Yeah, bam. Then
bam.
I'll come, I'll drop her off, come home, take a nap when all I got to do is grab a cup of coffee and head out the door because everything's packed.
Yeah, baby.
Bam.
Bam, bam.
And I will sleep as long as I can. And because I need to sleep, and I'm not going to set an alarm. Sometimes it takes me a while to sleep. Sometimes I'm asleep and I don't know I'm asleep, and so I'm kind of dreaming that I'm not asleep.
Yep. We've all been there.
And then I look at the clock and it's an hour later, and they say, well, you must have dozed off, bro.
Yep. That is such a self-gaslighting thing of like, I don't ever felt like I don't never ever felt like I slept, but then you can't account for every single minute
45 minutes
of the past 45 minutes.
Yeah. So, but I generally have no problem. But I've been drinking ample amount of coffee because my schedule's been no nap available.
Okay.
So
you might hit hard, or you might have trouble hitting the ground.
What's that?
You might hit sleep. You might crash into sleep, or you might struggle to accomplish.
Or crash into sleep and then sadly wake up an hour and a half later and be kind of awake.
Yeah, I hate that.
And not awake enough to do anything. Not enough. Maybe awake enough to read, but that seems like a lot of work because you got to hold up the book, use your eyes and stuff.
Yeah, I had a
book I have has a ripped binding on it.
Yep.
So the first quarter of the book, or first tenth of the book, jiggles away from the book, so I have to hold it in place.
Oh, man.
But it's one of my favorite books. I'm on my fourth read, probably.
That's probably...
Comanche Moon.
Why, you ripped the binding? Comanche Moon?
Yeah, no, I dropped it. It shouldn't have ripped, but I dropped it. It hit funny. Comanche Moon.
I had a night like that last night where I was totally exhausted 2 hours before I normally go to bed, and I was just like, fuck, I gotta go to bed. Maybe stop with fingernail things ever once. Be nice.
Now it's gone from a friendly reminder to an admonishment. So careful.
And so last night, like, I woke up fully refreshed at like 3:30 in the morning, and I'm like, oh, all right, so what's up? Oh, it's not time to get up yet. But I've learned to relish those. I'm just going to lie here for an hour and a half or 2 hours and relax and
hot dog
and be in my own thoughts and make plans and think my own thoughts that often are not remembered the next morning. But to just sort of be in control of what I'm thinking about, but also, holy crap, it has been so hot here. I've been sleeping with no covers, hardly any clothes, and the window wide open, just like, please let something cool me down. And even so, I have to like roll over to like let the sweat.
Big fan?
No fan. My wife is not a fan of fans.
Oh dear.
And so, but so far I've survived. But like,
let me tell you a secret.
Yes.
Get a handhold fan that isn't more than 4 inches long, 4 inches big. It fits in the palm of your hand, and just put it in front of your face.
Yes.
And it would not. It's like a settlement. You know.
Well, let me show you the fan that I just took away from the microphone. Hold on. So this little guy is a thing that my father purchased. It's super cute, and you can like hook it onto the wall, but also you can put it on the floor and it goes wherever you want it. There's a remote control. It'll oscillate if you want. It's the coolest freaking device.
Yeah.
And like my father had it a year or so ago, and my daughter was like, "Oh my God, I love this fan! I want this fan!" And he was a grandfather and was like, "Fine, you can have it." And so she took it and hasn't really used it, but then it's around here, so I have been having that in my face all day long because my office faces the south, and it gets super, super hot in here.
Yeah.
But
how hot?
86, 87, 88.
Yeah.
But like
that's hot.
Indoors.
Oh, that's hot, and it's that hot inside.
Yes. Outside, outside it's hotter. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
So like that's how I'm living. Like because there's no AC, as I mentioned.
My house is 72 degrees, 365 days a year.
Well, aren't you special?
Well, I'll tell you what. I go out in that heat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, mow the lawn or
Tell
whatever. Take some water, get back in that cool, and it's like, whoa. The cool is so rejuvenating.
Indeed. I've been taking some cold showers, And then you get out of
Yeah.
the shower and it's like you're sweating again. But whatever.
You're steaming,
So
right?
So
But it's relief when you're in. It's great when you're in the shower.
oh, indeed. I have some follow-up from last episode. Remember that my shit was in Barcelona, I believe. My stuff that I lost in the airport in Charlotte.
Yes.
And I watched, after we recorded that, I watched as it traversed its way
Yes.
across Spain towards the main port city where I live. And then over the weekend, we went to the main port city and drove right by the port. And I literally, like from the map, I saw the truck that it was in as we drove by it. And then on the Monday, it was delivered. And I received my kids' expired U.S. passports, which is not that important, but fairly important.
Right.
But also their not expired Spanish ID cards and a whole bunch of cables and shit that would have cost me $400 to replace.
Yeah. Plus the hassle.
So that all arrived, and
Well, that's great.
yeah,
That was an
kind of a
amazing
miracle.
story of professional compassion.
yeah, I mean, they
Kind of
don't
an
they don't
airline
really
at its
want
best.
they don't really want that. It's not the airline, it's the TSA. But like, I remember one time when I was traveling to visit with the committee for one of our golf outings, and I had purchased an expensive bottle of single malt scotch that I was going to deliver, and it got detained. Like, I guess I bought it in duty free going from Europe to the US, but it wasn't a direct flight into Charlotte, it was into another city. So they made me take all my shit and then go in through check-in again through security again to get into Charlotte. And at that point they were like, you got liquid here. And I remember thinking, I was like, hey, security agent dude, please, on me, take this home. Don't throw this in the dumpster. I hope that some of you go through this stuff at the end of the day and are allowed, dibs on shit, because there's a bunch of nice stuff here that you are taking from people.
I bet you the policy is they don't.
No, the policy is they can't. But like, Jesus.
Well,
like,
and so it gets nibbed. They have to steal stuff if they're going to do it at all.
Right, exactly. I hope that they steal stuff, and I hope that
Well, what did he say to you?
it was just a wink and a smile, like,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
But it was like, damn, I hope all of the valuable stuff that you guys take from people doesn't end up in the dumpster.
Well, single malt must have ran you $100 plus for the bottle.
Nah, 50.
What
Less.
was it?
I don't know.
What kind of scotch?
Glenlivet. I don't know. Johnny Walker.
Glenlivet.
I don't know.
Those aren't single malt.
Some are.
Those two aren't.
But fuck off. Glenlivet's not single
blended.
malt.
It's blended.
No, the shit you buy maybe.
Glenlivet?
Yeah,
I don't know.
bro. I've been to the
You bet
Distillery.
where they make it.
in the fucking Highlands. Don't fucking talk to me about Glenlivet. Nice try, American.
All right. I bend.
All right.
I bend.
Shit.
But is low end single malt then, for that matter, for the price. So many single malts are so expensive. Talisker's my favorite. That runs up 100 and a quarter.
Talisker is amazing. Is one of the best. Yes, I agree. So let's see. This week has been super hot. We've been going to the beach.
Is the water warm too then?
The water is cool. Like when you first jump in, it's like, holy shit, this is cold. And then after a minute, you're like, okay, this is cool. Like, I'm fine.
I can live here.
But it's not like
Better than out there.
like it's compared to like Lake James where you jumped in and it was cool for 2 seconds and it was like warm and lovely. But and also we have the dinkiest little waves here. Like we're somewhat on the ocean but sort of protected in this little cove, and so the water's not placid like it is on the lake, but there are waves, but they aren't fun waves to like let crash over you or anything. It's like meh.
Even in bad weather.
In bad weather, probably. In bad weather, there are times when the waves are more exciting, but this.
So how active is the fishing there?
How active is the fishing? Well, the fishing boats, the huge diesel fishing boats that go out and they go out like miles and miles to fish. They've been going in and out a lot lately.
Nets or hooks or?
It depends on the season. I think they can't be in net season now because they have a whole bunch of nets just like lying out. They have this time during the year where they stretch out all their nets, and I have to send you a photo of this. I'm sure it'll be the same way tomorrow, where they put out all the nets, and then they have the local, typically women, come and like sew like the holes together in the nets, but like they're like nets the size of like half of a football field, like
Really?
huge fucking nets. And so what they're fishing with right now, I don't actually know because I don't talk to the fishermen. But I do have some fishing news, and that is that my son today came to me and said, hey, my best friend that I've been hanging out with all summer, his grandfather is a fisherman and his father knows about fishing even though he's an auto mechanic, and my friend, he says my friend sometimes is allowed to go by himself out down to the pier to fish by himself with a bucket and a rod and whatever. He said, can I go with him tomorrow to go fishing? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. Like, that's one of the many father-son things that I'm just not going to give my son because I don't know how to fish and I don't fish. But
Right.
it's cool that he's got a friend that has that. And
Does he have equipment?
yes, he's got his rod, and there's another rod that I just learned is not going to be available for tomorrow, so they're just going to go with the one rod, but share it or whatever. And so they're like, it always kind of blows my mind, no offense, that there are these folks that go down to the pier and sit there and throw their line out and just sit there.
And wait, yeah.
And
Well,
wait.
they're contemplating actually.
Well, no, I get the mental space of just sitting there thinking about your own shit while you're doing nothing and not being bothered by anyone.
But know that there's other people that are sitting there for other reasons. Sitting on the dock of the bay,
Wasting time?
I'll be sitting when the evening comes.
Indeed.
That's a interesting, sad, but not sad, but not overly emotional song.
Yeah, it's
Not overly emotional.
and I'm like, great, you live in a fishing village, go spend your summer days fishing. Like, he's been going to the pool lately, which is there's a municipal pool, and the proper way for an 11-year-old to spend his summer is to go with friends to the local pool and sit around and do fucking nothing, and jump in the pool when you're hot, and sit in the shade and chat when you're not. Like, he's summering well. Anyway,
Yeah, sounds like my summer.
tell me about your
I've
summer,
been so
Dennis.
busy. I'm closing down my home improvement gig job probably pretty quickly here. But I think its end is in sight for that work. It's too hard on me. It's too physical. I can do it, but it just wears me out. I worked a roof the other day. Slight incline, or in my case, a decline.
Haha.
And I'm up on the top with a sprayer spraying on a roof treatment that needed to be hooked up to electric cord. And I stepped on the cord while I was walking backwards, and the cord curled, so it rolled on the tile and literally spun me around, and I caught myself before I went any further. Quick little and you know, later,
Those moments are, upon reflection, are like, oh shit, that could have been the end.
Oh yeah, and it's like a 8-foot drop, and you look at it, you say, well, I could jump from here probably, or hang from here and jump. But if you fell, a friend of mine fell off a 6-foot ladder. He broke ribs, he broke a leg, broke his jaw. I mean, it isn't, we're so used to watching movies, it's like somebody falls off a first-story building, they just jump up and, you know, wipe the blood off their nose,
Right.
and jump up and fight again. No, ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wrapped up the shit just before I leave, so I don't have any loose threads. My payment plans are all written in stone. I'm getting my payments on time. I
Nice.
can leave with the relief of, oh man, I don't have to go back and do any of that for a little while.
Nice. Yeah, I'm always, like I've said this before, but I'm always amazed at the, like, soccer players that do a bicycle kick and land on their back so fucking hard on the ground and just get up and run away. And I'm just like,
Well, how about football players, for God's sake?
well, I was referring to people without padding, but yes, sure, same thing.
Oh yeah, right.
but
Well,
it-
still, though, I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's a limit to what padding can do. I mean,
Exactly.
it's absolutely. It's a these sports. I don't know if you've seen any of the Olympics,
I have.
but there's been some really amazing stuff happen. While we are the most medaled country of the bunch, China leads in gold.
Okay.
More than double us, I think. And there's gold yet to be won. I would imagine this is quite.
There's gold in them there hills.
There's gold in them there river. Yeah, so I didn't see the ceremonies. I tell you what I did see though. Political desk.
We're going there
saw
already.
live.
All right.
Saw a live Harris speech.
I want to go back to the Olympics briefly.
Yes. Well, we can do that and then go pivot to Harris, but I'm excited about it.
So I
So-
haven't seen any Olympic coverage except when I'm at my local gym, and I find it hilarious that when I was at the gym in the States, what was on TV was the Food Channel, and like the touring around showing all the best barbecue places in the South. and just like
At the
and,
gym.
and just like close-ups of just like delicious and in here it's the men's gymnastics of the Olympics, and holy shit, our gymnasts, like,
you see it, you can't believe it.
yeah,
You see it again, you can never believe it. You understand what concentration and control.
and then when they fuck up, it's like, oh man, you couldn't do a triple flip and a quadruple twirl and fucking land on your feet, God. But it's like my first question is, who the fuck invented the pommel horse? The pommel horse is such a, like,
It wasn't a horse originally. It was a real horse. It wasn't a. It was a real horse.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, because all the other things, it's like swinging around on bars and the rings. Holy shit, the rings are the most impressive thing that the men do. It's like, I got on the ring, and I'm over here, and now I'm like, my body is parallel to the ground, and then I do some flips, and then I'm also up and down and all around, and just holding on to nothing but these fucking ropes. Like, that is amazing. The other bar stuff, meh. But and the thing where they go and they jump off of I don't even know what it's called, where they run and they hit a thing and they flip. But
is it a bouncing board, springboard?
It's they go and they put their hands on, they spring on a thing, and then maybe it's called springboard, I don't know. But the pommel horse, it's like, so we've got this sawhorse in the gym, and let's put some handles on it, and like it's just a bizarre version of anything. And also, why the fuck are there different gymnastics for men and women? Why are the bars uneven parallel for the women, but just a single bar for the men, and then parallel also for the men? Like, it's like, what? Who invented this shit? Anyway.
Well, who did invent this shit? I would say the Greeks.
The Greeks didn't invent. Also on the screen today was the crazy, like, white water kayaking bullshit, where they start off and they go down this totally manufactured white river thing, and they have to go through these gates, and it's just like, this is a sport in the Olympic, like, what? I mean, this is challenging.
It's a man-made river?
Yeah, they built a little stadium. Yeah, it's like, not.
That costs some money.
But it's just like, why? The whole, why is this in the Olympics and this other thing is not? It's such a bizarre question. Like
skateboarding?
Right, like and breakdancing, I think they just added this year, which I haven't seen any of. But you know, it's always been super impressive since when I was a kid. I distinctly remember was the high dive, the going from so high up, flipping around so many times and landing with no splash. That shit will always blow my mind. Like, how did you do that? And the ones where they do it like synchronized with another person, and they go flum, 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 and they go flump, and there's no splash. It's just like, what sort of?
And even though one of them weighs 100 pounds more than the other one, they hit the water at the same time. Newton's law of gravity.
Isaac fucking Newton.
Notwithstanding, wind enticing kinds of things like flapping arms or long hair or loose clothing. You know,
Indeed.
you can't have any feather-like characteristics in the experiment. That's why they use round balls.
That's why they did a
And-
feather on the moon, a feather and a wrench or a hammer or something.
Because there was
They did the
no-
experiment on
no
the moon,
motion.
and
Boom.
it was like, ta-da!
Well, they didn't drop things as much as they rolled them.
Well, there was one specific, like on the very last mission, they were like, all right, kids in
Oh
science
no,
classes.
I'm not talking about. I mean back in the centuries ago, when they were doing the
Yeah.
developing the theory. They didn't so much drop things as they rolled them.
You mean millennia ago, because frickin' Greeks. Long time.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, a long time. Many.
I was just there.
millennia.
Yep. Wild. So that's all for my Olympics coverage. I'm glad I got a little bit of this on the lead up, but I'm aware that in the States, there's the one network, NBC, I guess, or Peacock or whatever, that is just so, oh my God, the Olympics are the most important thing ever. But like, I don't know. It's a thing that, it's one of these things where where a country can think, oh, everyone in the world is watching what we're doing right now, but really almost no one. I mean, the Olympics.
No,
is
well,
the,
I
is
think
the
it's better to say that there are people the world over who are watching, which is
but
true.
not everyone. Like more people are watching the
not in
Olympics
any-
than are watching the Super Bowl.
There is actually more television viewing of the Olympics than most anything. So
Probably.
but that doesn't mean that it's such an enormously high percentage of the population. It's not anywhere near everyone. I mean,
Although we're trying to boost our numbers here at Happy Hour.
yeah,
So
we're going to go up from what, 4?
yeah, I just had a chat with. Remember we had a guy that was supporting us.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, how you doing? I haven't spoken to you in a year. And he was like, yeah, kind of struggling financially, like having trouble being able to travel or find a job or go and see my kid who I haven't seen in a couple of years. And I was like, shit, don't give any money to us. Like, dude, you focus on you.
Yeah.
It was like, damn, that's kind of a bummer. But so anyway, we won't be expecting any money from him anytime soon.
It was an odd thing. It was quite exhilarating.
But anyway, take us to the politics.
Oh, so last time we talked, Harris had a great few days and raised 81 million. Well, now she's raised over 200 million. The excitement continues, and she had her first. She's cut her ads. Her ads are out. They're very good. They're very good. And she gave her first speech. It was in Atlanta. It was 12,000 people. There wasn't a seat in the house. They were playing Beyonce's theme song, which the campaign has adopted. Megan Thee Stallion came out
With permission,
did a
presumably.
couple of numbers. What's that?
With permission, unlike the Republicans.
Oh, of course.
the Republicans always like take.
They're careful to say that.
Yeah.
The Beyonce granted
Yeah.
song, they say. And Megan Thee Stallion came out and sang and danced and did a few numbers, and everybody in the place was rocking and shaking. She walked out in her light blue powder suit, and she stood there and thanked people for minutes. They would not stop.
What a contrast.
And after a while, she said, "All right, y'all, I got to talk business now," because they had some fun introducing people, shouting out, laughing, people cheering. And then she did her campaign speech. which I've heard bits and dabs of it in different locations, she has it polished like a gemstone.
Yes.
When she talks about Donald Trump and knowing the type. I've prosecuted sexual abusers. Donald Trump is found guilty of sexual, just one thing after another, a big pause, and now she's got the crowds chanting these things that she's saying every speech, which is, Trump has backed out of the debate,
Right.
and making excuses. And he and his new running mate, well, they got a lot of things to say about me. Well, you know what I tell them. And the whole crowd yells out as she says, "Tell it to my face."
So he won't debate, but he and his running mate sure seem to have a lot to say about me. And by the way, don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird? Well, Donald, I do hope you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say, say it to my face.
And the whole crowd going, and then laughs, and
That's the thing.
and
Like
she-
because let's be honest, Biden had no laugh,
no,
but
had a smile, an engaging smile.
Kamala has a laugh that's infectious and genuine, and it highlights so strongly the fact that Donald Trump has never laughed in his life.
There's no recording of him laughing.
We've
It's been-
never seen
It's been stated recently that
genuine-
you cannot find any footage of Donald ever laughing.
he's never expressed joy on camera. Joy. And it's like I mean what a half human, not to go into
I saw
sociopathology, but
a little video of him golfing with Chambreau. His name Bryson Chambreau
DeChambreau.
and DeChambreau, and Trump was predicting that he'd land on the 315 par 3 and he'd make his putt, and he was right. DeChambreau was laughing the whole time and so happy, and there was Trump, never even cracked a smile, just talking to the camera about how he predicted it. I predicted it.
He predicted that Bryson would land on.
Yes.
Okay. Because
Yes.
Trump wouldn't.
Now it's all about Trump predicting it, of course. And Trump is just in his khakis and his big white shirt, his tent shirt, and he's all roly-poly and fat-assed. And they don't show where he hit it, but he says, "Well, I really knocked that." And it won't. And he didn't. I don't imagine he made the green.
Of course.
But he used the driver,
From
and he said he
350?
really knocked it.
Yeah.
315.
15. Well, whatever. Yeah. It's just so stark to those of us that can see, like, this is a miserable individual who has never had the love from his father and cannot love anyone else because of it, and has never laughed at anything other than someone else's, like, pratfall.
Yeah.
Like, if someone else trips and falls, then maybe you might come close to seeing a genuine laugh from him. but there's never a joke or any sort of comedy that would get, like, I don't know. So
And
here we are.
compare that to Obama and his ease at the comedic pulpit.
Yes.
He had a good delivery. George W. Bush wasn't bad either.
Wait, George W. Bush actually had a sense of humor, but didn't Trump not do the White House press things because
he did it
because he
doesn't want to go somewhere where the job is to make fun of him.
you could, but yeah, but you could have the best comedians in the world write him jokes, and he would fail to deliver them.
Yeah, no,
with any-
he doesn't have a comedic bone in his body. Not a one.
Not a comedic. I got a funny bone in both elbows.
Yeah, I know. I hit mine the other day.
Yeah.
Wham.
Wham bam. Ah. Nice. Let's see. So I had a kind of a fun day yesterday, where my employer, Attio, seen here on my shirt, just spent a bunch of money, I guess, to advertise on the billboard in Times Square,
Oh,
like the lit up NASDAQ billboard thing that changes for the whole day. I think every third or fourth ad was theirs. Was ours. I guess we can use that first person. And that was kind of exciting. It's more of a brand awareness ad than this will make you want to come sign up, but it was kind of cool to see my company
yeah, I'll bet.
in such.
I'll bet.
In
And
such a place.
so you did see it. I mean, or did you see a preview, or it's up there now, or
No. There's a live webcam, and I saw it from that long before the New Yorkers woke up at like 5 a.m. New York time. But then there were lots of photos posted, and there was a big social media thing, because one of the tricks that we pulled was we highlighted testimonials from important influencers that like our product. So we put important people's names up on the billboard with their quotes, such that they would be compelled, obviously, how could you not, to share that with all of their followers, to be like, hey, my opinion about Attio is on Times Square. I've never been in Times Square before. So that was kind of a clever manipulation trick.
yeah.
So
I loved.
we'll see.
I loved your John Oliver episode. You forwarded it to me when he talked about 42nd Street in New York and who owned it and all the stuff about immigrant crime.
I see a lot of John Eller. That was recently?
But yeah, migrant crime.
Oh, yeah, all the migrant crime stuff, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
how
and anyway,
it's just not a thing.
He had a funny rap about 42nd Street. Oh Lord, yeah, I had time today to take a look at everything you had sent me. So it was. Sometimes I don't, so it was great.
I
to
noticed. Yes.
Have a minute. And that Pete Buttigieg was,
He's flawless.
He was so good.
He's too good. He's almost too good.
Jon Stewart just kind of let him have the stage. I mean, And it was interesting to see how Jon Stewart would say something funny, and Pete would give it a moment, but then he'd pick back up on the serious topic at hand.
Yeah.
He never once broke from an intelligent discussion of what was going on.
Which
You know.
which makes him also like, yes, in that scenario, like if he was at a dinner party, you would hope that he would be able to be like human and goof around for a bit. But in that particular stage with that camera on him, of course he needs to hammer on his
Well,
his
it's
agendas.
effortless and it's conversational.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
And Stewart makes it that way through the Q&A, but
And I loved how Stewart was like poking at him like, so the next thing you say is going to be vetted, and he was like, that's probably true, but I want to talk about immigration or whatever, and like he's just so. Pete is like. His only flaw is he might be too clever to be president.
I don't think I wouldn't call him clever.
He's
clever.
smart, which to the difference of
Yeah,
clever.
I bet you he is clever, but I don't think that he shows it much. I think he could be real clever, but he doesn't come across to me as clever as much as just incredibly smart.
Competent.
If he were to turn some of the stuff into clever sayings or a mantra or something, and you could see him do that, make fun of something and call it something or whatever, that would be clever. But he's awful straightforward and factual.
He's very straight-laced in a way that, like, I'm trying to compare him with like Obama, for example. Obama was very self-deprecating. He was just a cool cat to be around, and he could take a thing and laugh about himself in a way that I feel like Pete maybe doesn't or can't. But Pete's like I want to talk about the issues because I'm a nerd, in a way that I feel like Obama.
Well, he actually deflected the humor.
Right.
He participated adequately, but didn't go there.
Right.
Where you could see Obama or Bush, for that matter, going there and trying to be funny, and probably being funny.
But you can totally. But with contrast to with the Donald, I can totally imagine Pete actually laughing.
Yeah.
Out of.
Oh, he laughed a lot on air.
Yeah.
Because there was funny stuff going on.
But.
He was laughing.
Anyway, he's such a. Like.
I know who she's picking for VP.
Okay, well, let me say another sentence or two. So Vance is, like I said before, is such a breath of fresh air because he's young enough that he can actually like put words together into a sentence, and it's like, oh wow, imagine if all politicians were like that, as opposed to Biden and Trump. But boy, does Buttigieg, he can talk your ear off.
And you mentioned Vance in terms of what, that he was young?
Like, and articulate compared to Trump and Biden. But that's
Have you
like,
been-
but like a 7-year-old is articulate compared to.
But the problem is what he's been articulate about. The cat lady craze, right?
Yeah. He's all about.
I mean, that's gone.
He's all
That's
about.
gone nuts.
He's all about. If you are not procreating, you don't deserve
Right.
anything.
You deserve
because-
less.
And
You deserve less. And most of the people, you'll see that most of the people are sociopaths and deranged killers, they're people who don't have any children. That's what he said on a television show in 2021.
Did you see Pete's counter to that? He was like, yeah, well, when I was on tour in Afghanistan, I didn't have kids, and God damn it, was my devotion to my country physical. And I was just like,
when those bombs were hitting around me, it sure felt that what blah 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 was physical. It was great.
Perfect.
You know he uses that on. You know he uses that on the stump.
Yeah, but the whole. Well, one of the funnier things I heard was Vance was saying, well, you know, people with kids should pay less taxes. And then someone came on the video and was like, you know, we have like dependents in the tax thing, and like people that have dependents like pay less taxes because we're paying for people that don't have their own income. You would think that a politician would fucking know this, but anyway, who's?
Did you see the news about his eyelashes?
That's the last sentence I thought I would hear. No, tell me.
They are fake black eyelashes.
Okay.
Look at a picture of them.
I mean, okay.
Reputable source.
All right, we will fact check that.
You know who I heard it from? I heard it from the Louisiana Cajun Carvel, James Carville. And when he was pressed by Ari Melber, and your source is what? He said, well, I can't divulge the source, but I will give you his initials. They're Tim Ryan, who ran against him and lost in Ohio. He won by the slightest margin. I mean, so the Republicans never vetted him. They didn't know about the cat lady tapes. They didn't know about the outspoken no abortion
vetting,
under any
vetting doesn't matter. Like vetting, it's the opposite of what they want. Vetting, like they're running Donald Trump. Vetting.
Yeah.
It's like, what a stupid question. It's like, we'll take whoever, like the initial take, I think is correct, that they wanted and still do want to seal the Rust Belt with those people that supposedly he clicks with. But okay, VP pick, name it.
Oh, Shapiro, Pennsylvania.
I've heard this
One
bandied
reason.
about.
You cannot win the presidency without winning Pennsylvania. And right now, it's the only, in just 2 weeks, the new polls in the swing states say everything moving Kamala's way, except Pennsylvania, which has gone from 9 points down to only 5, but there's only 96 days left, and Shapiro's wildly popular, and plus they're making the announcement in Philadelphia, so go figure, and they're going to introduce him. Well, come on.
All right, he's a John Oliver looking fella.
Well, I don't.
John Oliver will.
Yeah, dark hair, dark glasses.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know John Oliver. He loves to mock his own appearance with anyone that looks remotely like him. So that will happen.
And so that happens just in a couple of days, and then she hits the campaign trail. So Roy Cooper from North Carolina was in the running, but then the lieutenant governor would be governor.
Yeah, who's a
He
fucking
is a wacko.
knucklehead.
He is a wacko. There's some people need to be killed. He's just encouraging government assassinations
His
in this country,
his
in our homeland.
his ads, because I was just in North Carolina, his ads are so just crazy. Like, and the ads against him are like, so, he said, we wouldn't have so much abortion if the ladies could just keep their skirts down or whatever. And it was just like, that's the most Taliban bullshit, but whatever. So here we are. It's crazier every week, it seems, but off we go.
Well, and it's gonna stay crazy. It's gonna stay crazy. And she taunted him so much about this debate that in this and other things, she has the upper hand. And one of the things that has been said is that Trump is used to running the political agenda, the political story. He's not used to reacting to it. He's used to running it. And the national news is all about Trump. It has been forever. And now that he is in a reactive mode, he's going to get a little nuts because he doesn't like that. And when the Donald doesn't like something, he throws a tantrum.
Yep. I can't wait to see that.
Well, so I've got to see what I am so beat. I got to go, man.
So I'd like to give a brief shout out. I just, before we started recording, heard news that a guy, more or less exactly my age, who I met at a conference recently, who is a tech guy. He's from Ireland. I'll put a link in the show notes. Just died in a helicopter crash.
Oh.
Which really fucking sucks. Like, he wasn't remotely a friend, but I'd met him and I respected him, and it sucks that, he had a wife and family and shit, so.
Oh, boy. Well, raise a glass.
Anyway.
I do have a sip left. Here's to your bro.
To Neil.
To Neil.
So. Anyway.
Great way to end it, man. Love you. 2 weeks.
See you, bro.
Ciao, baby.
Okay, that's it for episode number 228. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/228, where you can see links to Buttigieg on Jon Stewart and the astronaut dropping the hammer and the feather on the moon. And you can support the show at patreon.com/happyhour. We would really appreciate that. See you in 3 weeks.